Hello and welcome to Bear. The main purpose of today's video is to show how to work the swirl join. The swirl join is used to connect two or more elements to the same point at the same time. It's more commonly used in patterns such as this one, where we're connecting rings using the up join, but it can also be used with chains and lock joins. Towards the end of the video, I'll show you how I used the swirl lock join combo in my Sweet Valentine pattern. Now, the reason I said the main purpose of this video is the swirl join is because the swirl join isn't the only way this pattern can be worked. We're going to quickly touch on a couple of other options because, well, it's fun and it's good to look at all possibilities. Then you guys can compare them and see which one you prefer. Okay, our pattern is a round of 5 rings. Each ring has a count of 6, picot 6. As I mentioned before, there's a couple of ways we can tackle this round. One option is to work the first ring with a long picot, or subsequent rings are individually joined back to the same long picot. So the next ring, I've started with 6, we join to our long picot and finish with 6, and that's simply repeated for the remaining rings. So the large picot has opened up to allow the joining of the other 4 rings, which works well enough if you get the size of your large picot correct. If your large picot is too big, then this can end up looking a little bit gappy. Another option involves tweaking the original stitch count a little bit. We can take the original count of 6 picot 6 and split it into 5 picot 2 picot 5. We're not changing the stitch count. The total count for each ring is still 12. But this one gives a little bit more of an open center. So I have my 5 picot 2 picot 5. And this one was our long picot. Now for the swirl join. The first 2 options involved joining each ring as the ring was being made. For the swirl join, we make the rings first and join everything together with a regular up join as we work the last ring. So for our pattern of 5 rings, I've completed 4 of the 5 and I've started the 5th ring and worked it up to the point of joining. Now I need to point out that picot size really matters. And it probably seems like kind of a weird time to be mentioning that, but it will make sense with what I'm about to show you. We need to stack our rings. We do this regardless of what size our picots are, but the end result is very different. Using a crochet hook, we literally stack one ring on top of the other. We can start here and work our way up to this one, or we can start here and work our way back to here. It doesn't matter which way we go, but if our picots are small, we need to be aware that the direction we stack will affect which ring sits on the top. Now, you might not be too fussed about which ring is on top, but if you're working a series of repeats and you want the repeats to be the same, you'll have to stack your hook the same way each time. The last ring on the hook is the ring that will be on top. I'm stacking my rings right to left. My pink ring is the last one on the hook. So once your rings are stacked, keep a light tension on the thread that's around your hand and ease your join through each picot one at a time. Pass your shuttle through that loop to make your up join, wriggle and adjust, and work the last 6 double stitches of the 5th ring. My pink ring is on top. If we stack left to right, and the yellow is now on top. Okay, let's talk picot sizes. The small picot has given us a lovely centre by pulling the rings in nice and close to the point where the rings overlap just a little bit. Now they overlap because our picots are small, but also because we have 5 rings. This sample also has small picots, but sits beautifully because there are only 4 rings. So if your picots are small, anything than 4, your rings are going to overlap. So the combination of your picot size and the amount of rings you have is important. So what happens if we use a longer picot? A longer picot allows your rings to sit side by side and it gives a really pretty decorative centre. But what I don't like about using the longer picot, and this is just my personal opinion, it might not bother you, but for me, it kind of feels like I have to compromise. If I pull my join all the way up, this is what the round looks like. I don't get that bare thread look coming from this picot because the last ring is pulled all the way to the center. And that means the last ring is out of alignment. So I don't have a nice rounded look to my motif. If I don't pull my join all the way up, my ring is aligned. I have a beautiful rounded motif, but it leaves a chunky center. This picot is thicker because it hasn't been pulled up properly. So it's really a matter of having a play with the amount of rings and the picot size you're going to use to see which look you prefer. The swirl join can also be used when we work with chains. This is a sample from my Sweet Valentine pattern. The next round is a chain which uses both picots on the lower chains to connect and also change direction. Because of the change in direction, we need to work a lock join. So we stack the chain picots just like we did for the rings. Pull up our core thread without splitting the ply is preferable. Pass your shuttle up through the loop. Make sure everything is sitting where it needs to be and pull your loop down. As you can see, if you're working with two colours, you get quite a substantial colour blip. Our lock join is covering two picots. If we pull our loop down instead of up, that means we're coming up through the back of our picots, grabbing our core thread and pulling it down. Our shuttle goes down through our loop. Our colour blip is a little bit smaller because the loop from our lock join is now on the back. So our front looks a lot nicer. That's it. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time.